this very, very fresh and new program. The title of this program is Mothers of Nations. Yes, you hear me right. Mothers of Nations. You're wondering, Mothers of Nations? Yes, you and I, as long as we are matured women, we are all mothers of nations. I am a mother of nation. Are you? We'll get to know later. In the scriptures, we read about so many women who we believe were mothers of nations through so many areas. We've heard of Eve, Sarah, Deborah. Most of them, we didn't even know how they went about being mothers to their own biological children. But somehow, somebody like Deborah, she was a warrior, even among men. Some men wouldn't even dare to go to war without her. You know who she was? She was the mother in Israel. She was a mother of the nation of Israel. So you and I, in our own homes, in our own spheres of influences, in our own communities, in our own towns, cities, churches, workplace, in our nations, you and I, we are mothers of nations. And so we want to look into some women we've read about in the Bible. Some of these women were powerful, strong, and role models to us, the contemporary women who are now reading about them. And we realize that in their strength, we could gain strength. We could also be models even in our communities. And also because they were human, some of them had their weak points. So in their weaknesses, we are not criticizing. In their weaknesses, we want to see how we, women of this era, could handle some of what we call their mistakes. Some of us even blame them, and we could even be worse, you know. So how do we handle these areas? So we want to look into it, and we are going to start this program. It's going to come up every week, and we are going to have different wonderful women talking about each character. It's not a character study thing. It's only that we're going to pick on some salient points and discuss and see and put ourselves in their shoes, and then see how we can work on their strength and be strengthened by their strength and learn from it, and also see the consequences of their weaknesses and then be corrected where we too are weak. That's just about it. And I know whether you're a Christian or any religion, you will have something to take home from all our points. Thank you for listening. I believe you'll be with us for many, many weeks ahead, even as we start this maiden episode of Mother Eve, the mother of mankind. And somebody's looking at me here while I've been blubbering, and she's no other person but my dear friend and sister, Mrs. Yomi Ogunlari. You're welcome to this program.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for agreeing to come up on this program.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And one thing we are going to talk about Mrs. Yomi Ogunlari is that she has been so magnanimous, and she had opened this, her beautiful office, for us to kind of, I don't want to use the word scatter, but rearrange to be our studio for this beautiful program. So I say thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Yomi Ogunlari, first, is a woman, and that qualifies her to be a mother of nations. She's a wife. She's a mother. Don't look at her physical or her beauty or anything. She's a grandma many times over. She's a grandma. And so you're welcome to this program.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Yomi Ogunlari is the Managing Director, CEO of Showers Publishing. Showers Publishing. They publish books. What books?
We publish books for nursery, primary, and we've just started secondary schools.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm actually one of her marketers.
Yes, that's true.
But not too buoyant with one of those.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Anyway, we won't say much on showers because we don't want her to pay for the program and we don't want to give her cheap advance. She has already paid anyway by allowing us to use this place. Thank you so much once again. Mother Eve. When you hear of Mother Eve, what comes to mind?
Good question, actually. Her husband called her Mother of all nations. He was the one that actually said that, you know. And what comes to my mind is this woman who literally started the human race. That's what really comes to my mind when I hear about Eve. A woman who started the human race, so to say, but along the line, not too far from the beginning of creation, something happened.
Don't tell me about what happened.
I won't. Let's go
Don't
on.
tell me yet. We'll talk about that. No, I can sense where you're going. Now, Mother Eve found herself in a beautiful garden where only she herself and the husband were living. But we know that because everything there was beautiful, cool, pure, righteous, they were obedient, and they were, remember, created as the image of God.
That's right. Yep.
And by the time God brought out the rib, the bone from Adam, and shaped it to form a beautiful creature, a woman, Eve, and presented her to Adam. The quality, I'm just thinking of quality here now. Adam was made from the raw material, the dust.
Right.
Dust.
Right.
Made from raw material, the dust. And then Eve was born from this already made raw material.
We'd say a finished product.
A finished product. Does that tells us some disparity between men and women? Because men seem so rugged, maybe made of dust, made of the direct raw material.
You know.
And then Eve came, God brought her out from an already made.
Remember something, as soon as Adam saw her, the first thing he said was, wow. And that wow was, this is, you know, and I guess he did see that it was beautiful. She was beautiful.
Different.
And different. He probably must have seen himself, maybe, I don't know if there were mirrors in those days, but probably in the river, you know, he could have looked into the river and seen his reflection. So he probably had an idea of what he looked like.
Okay.
But for her, when he saw her, he was wow. That tells us that truly she must have been beautifully and wonderfully created. And created out of this finished product. And if we recall,
so that made her more refined.
Yes, more
Oh,
refined.
so we women were more refined from.
I like
So
that.
that they don't get annoyed.
I like that. And when you look at the woman, and the way the Lord brought her into life, he didn't breathe his breath into her.
That's it.
Because he had already done that with Adam.
So the life in Adam
just came naturally into her. You know, and I guess all these things do make a difference. You know, and that's how this beautiful creature comes about.
Okay. Now, some women, not women, people, when they talk about Eve, it's like that mother Eve that brought us into all this catastrophe. That mother Eve that led our father Adam into Wahala. That mother Eve that listened, that did blah blah blah. They didn't really see anything good about Mother Eve. What do you have to say to that?
To be honest, when you look at it, it's kind of true. If not for Eve and what she allowed the serpent to do to her, we really don't know how or where humanity would be at this point in time. It could have been worse, let's be honest.
Okay.
It could have been worse. But then let's look at Eve herself. Eve disobeyed the Lord, period. That's it. She disobeyed the Lord. He had given her instructions, do this and don't do this. And because she disobeyed, all of us are paying for it today. All of us are paying for it today, unfortunately.
All of us and even generations to come.
Unfortunately.
But something happened that gave us the grace that even we and our generations to come. I want you to talk about that grace.
The grace.
Briefly.
Okay, remember when...
So that we don't just look that we are doomed forever.
We're not doomed forever, thank God for God.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand? Thank God for God, thank God for the Godhead. Thank God, because sometimes you sit down and you begin to wonder, I wonder what the Godhead decided or how they came up with the redemption plan after the fall. Sometimes I say to myself, do you think God actually knew? I guess he did. Knew that Adam and Eve were going to fall. I guess he did. Let's be honest with ourselves. He's God. He could have stopped it, but this is what he wanted to unfold. And thank God for his grace that he had already planned the redemption of mankind by sending his son, Jesus.
Oh, thank God for Jesus. So, what we are saying now is the second Adam. Jesus came to rectify
what the first Adam had done.
Had
transpired.
Okay, so thank God. Now, coming back to you and I and women out there, and we are boasting that we are mothers of nations.
Yeah.
Yes, Eve was deceived. Eve went out of her way to do what was contrary to the will of God.
Right.
And Eve could have not listened to serpent.
She didn't have to.
Eve could have not spoken.
Right.
Not had any dialogue with the serpent. But because, bring it home now, most of us women, we blah 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 cha too much.
Okay.
And so we go out of our way and tell one another some top secrets that are not supposed to be exposed.
About our family, right?
About our family, about ourselves, about so many things.
Okay.
Because that was what the serpent cast on. The Lord said, I said, are you sure the Lord said? You know, I want us to just, as women, how should we handle things like this?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that she operated in disobedience, which a lot of us today operates in disobedience for so many reasons. One, do we even know the word Do we know what we are supposed to do? Do we know the things God has told us not to do and the things God has allowed us to do?
Do we really know the word?
Do we really know the word? So I think a lot of us mothers need to spend quality time knowing the word. We need to find time. We can't say we're too busy for God. Do you understand? Because I just say that, I mean, you're too busy for God, things that God would have sorted out within a few seconds, but because you don't know Him, it's going to take you for forever to solve that problem. And coming back to where you are coming from, a lot of women spend a lot of time talking to people they're not supposed to talk to, saying things they're not supposed to say, and it's like women are known for just talking. And the Bible says, you know what? When you talk a lot, you say things you're not supposed to say. I mean, silence is golden. I believe you've heard about that.
Of course.
Silence being golden.
In your silence is your strength.
Right.
I heard that in the Bible.
Yes. So we need to be able to...
Your quietness is your strength.
We need to control ourselves. We need to be able to control ourselves. We really do. We really do.
Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop here.
Okay.
And then we'll continue in the next episode. Just note where you have stopped.
Okay.
We'll continue the next episode. I'm enjoying this. Not that I'm enjoying the calamity that started at this point in time of Eve and Adam, but I'm enjoying knowing what went wrong and what we should learn and how we should handle some of these things. And we don't want to just browse over that. I want us to really talk about that in depth. So for now, we are going to stop here, and I want to invite you in advance to look out for the second episode of Eve. God bless you. Thank you.